For many living in California, alerts such as these are not far removed from the end times. In a state infamous the world over for its devastating wildfires, there is a natural tendency to believe that no matter how bad the fires get in the countryside, that the major cities will always be a safe place. That is, until they aren't. In May of 2014, large parts of San Diego received this emergency alert to evacuate immediately as flames from over 20 separate wildfires converged only a few miles from the city limits.
The San Diego Office of Emergency Services has issued a mandatory evacuation order. All residents in Ramona, south of 78 and west of Pine, south to Montecito, and all residents in San Diego Country Estates, this is a mandatory evacuation order. Your evacuation route is through Escondido. I repeat, all residents in Ramona, south of 78 and west of Pine, from that area south to Montecito and San Diego Country Estates are under a mandatory evacuation. Your evacuation route is through Escondido. Repeating once again, the San Diego Office of Emergency Services has issued a mandatory evacuation order. All residents in Ramona, south of 78 and west of Pine, south to Montecito and San Diego Country Estates, you are under a mandatory evacuation order. Your evacuation route is through Escondido.
The number of San Diegans affected by the evacuation order soon reached 121,000 people in a city with a population of just over 1 million. 6 people were hurt and 1 killed by flames in the vicinity of San Diego before the fires were eventually contained. And yet, in the long term, this kind of danger has not subsided. The prospect of a wildfire burning down a major American city in our time would later come true when the Palisades and Eaton fires consumed large parts of Los Angeles in January of 2025. The following bulletin has been described as the most disturbing ever issued by the National Weather Service. It was issued shortly after the arrival of Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans on August 28, 2005, a city of 1.3 million people. Just after 10 on the morning of August 28th, meteorologist Robert Ricks, based in the service's New Orleans office, decided that the emergency was too severe and immediate for a standard alert, and issued one in which he emphasized the worst possible outcomes of the coming disaster. By this time, rains from the hurricane were already falling in the city. 2 hours later, wind speeds in New Orleans reached hurricane force, and the following day, the city's levees and floodwalls failed, leaving New Orleans completely exposed to one of the most powerful and deadly hurricanes ever to strike the United States.
Devastating damage expected. Hurricane Katrina, a most powerful hurricane with unprecedented strength, rivaling the intensity of Hurricane Camille of 1969. Most of the area will be uninhabitable for weeks, perhaps longer. At least one half of well-constructed homes will have roof and wall failure. All gabled roofs will fail, leaving those homes severely damaged or destroyed. The majority of industrial buildings will become non-functional. Partial to complete wall and roof failure is expected. All wood-framed low-rising apartment buildings will be destroyed. Concrete-blocked low-rise apartments will sustain major damage, including some wall and roof failure. High-rise office and apartment buildings will sway dangerously, a few to the point of total collapse. All windows will blow out. Airborne debris will be widespread, and may include heavy items such as household appliances, and even light vehicles. Sport utility vehicles and light trucks will be moved. The blown debris will create additional destruction. Persons, pets, and livestock exposed to the winds will face certain death if struck. Power outages will last for weeks, as most power poles will be down and transformers destroyed. Water shortages will make human suffering incredible by modern standards. The vast majority of native trees will be snapped or uprooted. Only the hardiest will remain standing, but be totally defoliated. Few crops will remain. Livestock left exposed to the winds will be killed. An inland hurricane wind warning is issued when sustained winds near hurricane force, or frequent gusts at or above hurricane force, are certain within the next 12 to 24 hours. Once tropical storm and hurricane force winds onset, do not venture outside.
"80% of the city soon flooded, roughly the same share of the city's population that made it to safety." This alert and its apocalyptic tone have been credited with driving many people to evacuate who otherwise may have not, for no mandatory evacuation order had ever been issued for the city, even during past hurricanes. Sadly, 1,400 people lost their lives, and to this day, even 20 years later, the wider metropolitan area still holds 300,000 fewer people than it did in 2005. Towards the end of May 2013, a 6-day outbreak of 134 tornadoes occurred across the United States. By far, the worst day of the outbreak was May 31st, when a gigantic EF3 tornado occurred in Canadian County, with several weaker tornadoes occurring nearby or as satellites of the larger tornado. A chain of tornado advisories, including watches, warnings, and emergencies, stretched through much of the afternoon, while memories of the violent Moore tornadoes of 1999 and 2013 were still fresh for many residents of the region.
National Weather Service in Norman has issued a tornado warning for southwestern Oklahoma County and central Oklahoma, southeastern Canadian County and central Oklahoma, until 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time. At 6:23 p.m. Central Daylight Time, National Weather Service meteorologists and storm spotters were tracking a large and extremely dangerous tornado 6 miles southeast of El Reno. Doppler radar showed this tornado moving east at 40 miles an hour. This is a tornado emergency for Yukon, Richland, Wiley Post Airport, Bethany, and the village. Take immediate tornado precautions now. In addition to a tornado, dangerous and extremely large destructive hail up to softball size is expected with this storm. Locations impacted include El Reno, Yukon, Bethany, Mustang, War Acres, and Richland. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. If you cannot get underground, go to a storm shelter or an interior room of a sturdy building now. Take cover now in a storm shelter or an interior room of a sturdy building. Stay away from doors and windows. Do not stop under bridges or highway overpasses. They will not protect you from a tornado. At 6:42 p.m., a large and extremely dangerous tornado was located 5 miles west of Yukon, moving to the east at 10 miles an hour. This tornado was on Interstate 40, 2 to 3 miles east of El Reno. Another severe thunderstorm was located southwest of El Reno and may become tornadic in the next hour. This tornado emergency is for far eastern Canadian county, including El Reno, Yukon, Bethany, and Richland. In addition to a tornado, large destructive hail up to softball size is expected with this storm. Once again, at 6:42, a large and extremely dangerous tornado was located 5 miles west of Yukon, or 2 to 3 miles east of El Reno, moving to the east at 10 miles an hour. At 7:05, a confirmed strong tornado was located 1 mile south of the fairgrounds, moving to the east and southeast at 20 miles an hour. This is a tornado emergency for downtown Oklahoma City, including the fairgrounds, Will Rogers World Airport, the Capitol, Valley Brook, Northmore, and Dell City. In addition to a tornado, large destructive hail up to softball size is expected. Once again, at 7:05, a confirmed strong tornado was located 1 mile south of the fairgrounds, moving to the east to southeast at 20 miles an hour.
Fear of a tornado impacting a populated area spread like wildfire, and despite official advice not to outrun tornadoes in vehicles or to hide under overpasses, many did so regardless, and traffic soon clogged roads south of El Reno and in the vicinity of Oklahoma City. Later estimates revealed that had the tornado struck these traffic jams, that over 500 people would have perished, on top of the 8 that actually did. Moreover, all of these 8 deaths occurred in vehicles. The tornado that was the centerpiece of this outbreak was almost 3 miles wide at its greatest extent, plenty of room to consume so many victims. Located just north of St. Louis, Missouri, St. Charles County is one of the most flood-prone regions in the United States. The Missouri River forms much of the county's southern boundary, while the Mississippi River does the same in the north and east, as both rivers meet on the east side. On June 6, 2013, a massive breach in a riverside levee sent floodwaters surging across the countryside. Most flash flood warnings are issued for specific localities or communities, but the floods of June 2013 were so severe that the warned area was extended to the entire county. As a result, hundreds of people in low-lying rural areas were sent scrambling for safety.
Flash flood warning remains in effect for northeastern St. Charles County until 2 p.m. Wednesday. At 2:59 p.m., a levee breach was reported to the St. Charles County Emergency Operations Center. The breach was located along the Mississippi River just below Melvin Price Lock and Dam. Meanwhile, the flood threat in the West Halton area remains. Additionally, there are several other locations along the Mississippi River levee that are at risk of overtopping. Some locations that will experience flooding include West Halton. Do not drive your vehicle into areas where the water covers the roadway. The water water depth may be too great to allow your car to cross safely. Repeating, a flash flood warning remains in effect until 2 p.m. Wednesday for the following county: St. Charles County, Missouri.
The breach was repaired after the floodwaters had consumed everything within 2 miles of the breach, and no deaths were reported. Nevertheless, the county remains as vulnerable as ever, given its unique location, and it has seen a variety of natural disasters before and since, including other flash floods, minor earthquakes, and severe tornadoes.